Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the next episode in the Intro to Coding Python series. In this episode, we're going to go over modules, Python modules. As I said last episode, it's basically a way to be able to create some code and put it in a file and then reuse it in another file. Very useful, and we'll kind of show off a very simple example of how to do that in this video. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. Boop. All right, so here we are. We have just the generator stuff we just talked about before, but let's talk about modules. So what is a module? Again, it is a way to create code in another file and use it in a different file. So to kind of show off this, I have this helper .py other file here. You can see it's actually under the same directory as Python, as this file here. And this has a function called super cool stuff, and it prints off, wow, so cool. So what we can do here is we can just type import helper. And now that we've imported helper, this is now a reference to this entire file, which means if we want to run something from this helper file, we can just do helper.supercoolstuff. And then we can run this, and we can go ahead and run, and we get, wow, so cool. Now, if we change this file, wow, that is so cool, and we run this again, it's changed. We didn't change anything in this file. We didn't touch this file at all, right? But the file that we're actually reading from when we print this line is the thing that changed. So one thing, honestly, this is the simplest version of this. You can store classes, you can store anything you want. Like typically these like functions are kind of the most useful thing, because you could say create like a math helper, class or something like that. So you can create another one that's like, you know, crazy math, x, y, return x plus y, right? All this crazy business. Or like some of the stuff we talked about before, right? Maybe we want to have a Fibonacci numbers kind of thing. We can create this here. Now, if we want to actually do this here, we can just say like, oh, you know what? We need the Fibonacci numbers. So let's just get the helper.Fibonacci numbers, and we'll go up to 50. So now we have the Fibonacci numbers here, and now we can just do like for, you know, or underscore in range of 50, print fib or next fib, right? Just like we talked about before. And bam, now we get all the Fibonacci numbers again. That's great. And this is all happening just from right here. But it's not defined in here at all. We're just using it from another file. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Now, one of the things you might actually encounter when you're trying this for yourself, if it does not work, is that I'm gonna just drag over this file or this kind of structure here. Let me see if I can make this bigger. I can, excellent. Okay, so one of the things that you might encounter is that you might get an error. I don't actually know how to revert this so that it doesn't work, but you might get an error where it's saying that it can't find the file. If that happens, what you can do is create a new file. I guess you can call it a text document and just get rid of the whole thing. And then you have to call it underscore init underscore .py. And yeah, that's fine. And if you do this, it will basically tell the Python searcher, I don't know what you want to call it, Python runtime, that this directory has been initialized so that it can basically give modules to other things. I know it's kind of a weird way of doing it, to be honest. I'm not 100% sure if I really like that, but you can do it like that. So yeah. So you might also notice that we have another directory here called my helpers, and we have another file in here. And I hope you can see this, another file in here called other helper. So let's go ahead and try and import that. So even though this is in another directory, we can still import it, but we need to specify the directory name first. So we can It was called my helpers. So we'll go my helpers dot other helper, and then we can say as other helper. That just means that we can kind of just reference it as anything, and you can make this as anything. You can do like OH or OH, and then you can just use it as though it's another helper. So let's open up this other helper, and let's drag this on over here. And this is going to say, wow, now this is helping. And let's try that. Super helpful helper function. And let's go ahead and do it. And bam, wow, this is amazing. So now we are importing from multiple different files. We're using code from multiple different files in our own file. One thing that I just want to kind of go over here a little bit is just that typically when you import things into your Python files, it is best practice to do all of this in the same spot, typically at the very start of your file. So I'm not going to put this like all the way up here because you're not going to see it at all in this program or in this tutorial, but this is kind of how you would want it to look. So if this was the start of the file right here, line 476 was actually, here, let's just do this. There we go. This is what it should look like. And then now you can use everything, but that way you know exactly what's imported in your file at the very front. All right, that is it with modules. So thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope this was useful. And if you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments down below. I know I had some issues initially when I was first trying to use modules, getting them to be bound so that you could actually reference them. So if you run into issues, please let me know and I'll try and help out if I can. Please drop a like down on this video. It super helps out to kind of spread the reach of the video, to spread the good word of Python and just programming and coding in general. It's super fun and not as hard as people may think it is. Yeah, and feel free to subscribe. It's free, and then you'll know when the next video is going to be posted. I got a lot of cool things coming up too that I'm going to try and make. It's just me working on this channel. I do everything, which is probably why the editing is hopefully getting better. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to put out content that hopefully you enjoy. And I'm going to try and do a little bit of a different spin on some of these types of things in the near future. Maybe not super near, but somewhat near. Near being like a month or two. Because again, it's just me. And I do have a full-time job outside of this. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. And I hope to see you in the next one, where we will be going over files. So we're going to be reading in files, creating files, editing files, doing a whole bunch of cool stuff like that. And that includes like spreadsheets and stuff. So we can actually like make our own spreadsheet with Python. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I will leave it at that for today. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. And thanks for watching. Remember, never stop learning. Cheers.